Balancing equations. Balancing equations depends on the law of conservation of mass. Think of it as a law of the universe. It always applies. The law of conservation of mass says that matter is not created or destroyed. It is only transformed. So when you mix chemicals together, nothing ever disappears or nothing ever gets magicked out of nowhere. What happens is the chemicals you mix together break up and then join up together in a different way. They're transformed into something new. I like to think of it as you only get out what you put in. Nothing appears from nowhere, nothing disappears. You get out whatever you put in. So let's look at balancing equations, keeping that in mind. These are my system of 3 C's for balancing equations. We count, check, and change. Before we do all of that, we've got to get everything set up. And really, these first 4 steps, you can think of those as the setup. Whoops. The setup. What a mess. Okay. So let's start setting up our equation here. We're going to balance magnesium plus hydrochloric acid makes magnesium chloride and hydrogen. So first step is write the equation big across the page. So we've got magnesium plus HCl makes MgCl2 plus H2. See, I wrote it big across the whole page. It makes it easier. Number 2, we add placeholders for the coefficients. So these are the places where we're going to change it to make it obey the law of conservation of mass. And the numbers we write in there are called coefficients. So I'm going to draw a little sign here. You might recognize the word from math. It means how many. Like if you got 4x, 4 is the coefficient because you got 4 x's. Okay, so we've done the first step, we've done the second step. Now we draw a line under the arrow. I always draw a dotted line, I don't know why. And we've divided our equation into 2 sides. We've got the reactants. They're the things that do the reacting. They're what we put in. And over here, we've got, whoops, our products. That's what comes out. Okay. Now we're going to list the elements on each side. So on this side we've got magnesium, hydrogen, and chlorine. Now if you find you're having any trouble with figuring out what the elements are, at the bottom of your page there's a link to another video about reading chemical formulas that will help you out. Do you see I've listed them in the same order on both sides? It makes it easier. Okay, so now we get into the main meat and potatoes of doing it. We've got count, check, change. First thing we do is we count how many of each element there are. So we got Mg, remember there's like an invisible 1 there. We've got 1 of those, we got 1 H, and we got 1 Cl. On this side we've got 1 magnesium, H's, there's a 2, so that's 2 hydrogens, and chloride is Cl2, so there's 2 chlorides. Okay, now we check it. Is it balanced? So, our magnesiums, 1 and 1. That's balanced. Hydrogen, 1, 2. That's not balanced. neither's the chlorides. Okay, so we need to think, what do we need more of? We need more hydrogen on this side. We've only got one. The only place we can change is in our placeholders. So if I change this, that's not going to change the hydrogen. If I put a 2 here, that's going to change how much hydrogen we've got. Because now we've got 2 HCl's. When we had one HCl, we had one H and one Cl. Now we've got 2 of them. So we've got 2 H's and 2 Cl's. We're counting. So after we change, we go back to counting. So in your notes, draw a nice curly arrow. We go back to count. So we count it again, and now we check it again. Is it balanced now? We've got 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Yes, it's balanced. And so we've now got a reaction equation that obeys the law of conservation of mass. 1 magnesium goes in, 1 magnesium comes out. 2 hydrogens go in, 2 go out. 2 chlorides go in, 2 chlorides come out. The reactants going in equal the products coming out. We got out what we put in. Now, I want you now to press pause and try this equation. Sodium plus chlorine makes sodium chloride. Remember to use your 3 C's. Go through the steps. I'll see you in a moment. Okay, welcome back. I hope you found that went okay. Let's go through it. So the first thing we do is write the equation nice and big, because if you don't have room, it's difficult. Okay, now we add our placeholders for the coefficients. Now we draw a line under our arrow. And we list our elements. Same on both sides. Great. Now we start our count, check, change. First thing we do is count. We've got 1 sodium and 2 chlorides. On this side we've got 1 sodium and 1 chloride. Now we check. The sodiums are balanced, but the chlorides are not balanced. We need more chloride on this side. The only thing we can do is change this coefficient. So let's put a 2 there. So we've changed, and now we count again. We used to have in 1 sodium chloride, 1 sodium and 1 chloride, but now we've got 2 sodium chlorides. We've got twice as much, times 2. So we've got 2 sodiums and 2 chlorides. Now we check again. We've got 1 sodium, 2 chloride sodiums. That's not balanced, but 2 chlorides, 2 chlorides. That is balanced. So we need more sodium on this side. So let's put a 2 up here. So now we count again. We got 2 sodiums on this side. And now we check. Is it balanced? Yes, it is. So we're done. Remember, there's some reviews at the bottom of the page, and now it's time for you to do some practice on your own.